For case where a more than 0, the graph is minimum. So to see the shaded part, we need to see at the inequalities. When the inequalities is less than 0, means that the shaded part is below the line and inside the curve. So the range of value of x is, okay, we write like this: P and Q, and put x in the middle, and then put the sign. Second, when the case where the inequalities is more than 0, the shaded part is above the line but outside the curve. Then the range of value of x is x less than p, comma, x more than q. Next, we see the case for a less than 0. So it means that the value of a is negative. Hence, the graph is maximum. And again, to see the shaded part, we see the equalities. Here it states that less than 0. When the inequalities is less than 0, so means that it is below the line. So the shaded part is below the line but outside the curve. The range of value of the range of value of x is x less than p, comma, x greater than q. Next, when the value is more than 0, means that it is above the line. So the shaded part is above the line and inside the curve. So to write the range of value of x, again, when it is inside the curve, we write p on the left, q on the right, and then put x in between, and then less than and less than. So that is the answer. Now we see the example. Find the range of the values of x for question A, x squared minus 4x minus 5 more than or greater than 0. So first, what should you do is we find the factor of this quadratic. So using calculator, you press EQN, and then we get the factor is x plus 1, x minus 5 more than 0. From the equation, from the quadratic, we see that a is more than 0 because a is positive. So when A is positive means that the graph is minimum. So now we write the minimum graph. Okay, now we put the value of 5 and -1. So here is -1, and this side, right hand side, is 5. So next, to see where we should shade the region, we see this one. State that it is more than 0. So when it is more than 0, it means the shaded part is above the line. So we shade above the line but outside of the curve. Okay, next, the last one, we write the range of value of x. So the range of value of x is x less than -1, comma x more than 5. Example B, I use the same quadratic, but right now the inequalities is less than 0. So same as before, we find the factor of this quadratic. So the factor is x plus 1, x minus 5 less than 0. Okay, now again the value of A is positive, so the graph is still minimum graph. Okay, now on the left we write -1, on the right we write 5. So to see the shaded part, we see this symbol. So it is less than 0. When the inequalities is less than 0 means it is below the line. So the shaded part is below the line and inside the curve. So to write the range of value of x, okay, if this is the case, so you write -1 on the left hand side and then write 5 and put x in between and put the sign less than and less than. So that is the answer. Example C, for this case you see the quadratic is not in the form of general form, so first we need to arrange this quadratic. So you will expand x multiplied by x, x multiplied by -4. So x multiplied by x, x squared minus 4x, and move 12 to the left hand side, minus 12 less than and equal to 0. Next we find the factor. So the factor is x plus 2, x minus 6 less than and equal to 0. So after that we see A. Now A is positive, so when A is positive, the graph is minimum graph. So we write the minimum graph, we put the value here. So left hand side -2, right hand side 6. Okay, next we see the inequalities. So here state that it is less than and equal to 0. So same thing, change to less than 0. So when it is less than 0, shade it is below the line. So now we shade the region which is below the line and inside the curve. So the range of value of x is -2, 6, put x in the middle, less than, equal to. For this case we have less than equal to. So that is the answer.